The basic question you are going to answer is, what do I want within the next 1 to 10 years? I want you to take about 12 to 15 minutes and make a list of at least 50 things you want within the next 1 to 10 years. These are long-range goals. To help you get started with your list, consider these questions. What do I want to do? What do I want to see? What do I want to be? What do I want to have? Where do I want to go? And what would I like to share? Now, with these thought starter questions in mind, answer the basic question. What do I want within the next 1 to 10 years? See how many things you can write down. At this point, don't take the time to describe in detail everything you want. This is the time for you to let your thoughts pour, to write fast and to abbreviate. For example, if you just write down 380, you'll know what that means. You don't have to describe the color and the interior of the car. You'll do that later in this exercise. I want you now just to abbreviate and write fast. Make the list as long as you possibly can. Try to write down at least 50 items, 50 things you want within the next 1 to 10 years. These are long-range goals. Spend about 12 to 15 minutes on this. After you've completed your list, you're ready for the next part of the exercise. Go through your list, and next to the things you think you can accomplish or acquire a year from now, write a number 1. Next to the things you think it will take 3 years to realize, write a 3. Next to the things it will take 5 years to accomplish, write a 5. And next to the things it will take 10 years to accomplish, write a 10. Go through this list now to the best of your ability and say, that looks like it will take me about a year, or 3 years, or 5 years, or 10 years. Some big goals might be out there 10 years from now. Once you complete this part of the exercise, you might come to the conclusion that you need a lot more 3-year goals and less 1-year goals, for example, or that you need more 10-year goals. You see, while you're working on one goal, you must have something else in the planning stages. If you don't, what happened to some of the early Apollo astronauts could happen to you. After they came back from the moon, some of those astronauts experienced deep psychological and emotional problems. And the reason for that, why after you've been to the moon, now where do you go? That seemed to be the end, the finish. What later astronauts did was to make sure that they had major projects lined up after they returned from the moon trip. The way you enjoy life best is to wrap up one goal and start right on the next one. Don't linger too long at the table of success. The only way to enjoy another meal is to get hungry. Another thing to check for on your list is that you have included goals for each of these 3 important categories. First, make sure you've listed your economic goals, your goals for income, profit, and productivity. Second, make certain your list includes material items you want, tangibles, such as a home, a car, a boat, furniture, or jewelry. Don't attach the wrong importance to things, but they are important. Third, you'll want to include on your list goals for personal development. Write down all your personal development goals. Your goals to be more physically fit, to lose weight, to be more decisive, to be a more effective leader, to be a better communicator, to learn another language.
One of my good friends is Tom Brady, and I can tell you he's constantly talking about being in an emergency to get better. Rodney Harrison was telling me the story that when he was a rookie for the Patriots, he got to the gym every day, the workout facility first, every single day. And he walks in one day, there's this new rookie, skinny dude, probably going to get cut, back up kind of dude in Michigan, and he walks into the gym, and this guy's in there working out already. And he goes, "Who are you?" The guy goes, "Hi, I'm Tommy." And Rodney goes, "Yeah, I'm the guy who gets here early." Brady goes, "Oh yeah, I'm going to beat you every day." And Rodney Harrison goes, "Yeah, right." So by the way, the team meeting started at 10. This was 6 a.m. They do weights after the meeting. They were the only 2 guys who went to the gym before the meeting, but they were there at 6 a.m. The next day, Rodney gets there at 5:30. Walks in, guess who's already there? Skinny Brady. Harrison's like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Tommy, I got to get here every day before you." Next day, 5 a.m., Rodney gets there. Guess who's already there? Brady. The next day, Rodney Harrison, you can tell you the story. Rodney Harrison gets there the next day at 4:30. As he walks in the door, Brady's walking out, throws his towel, he goes, "Have a good workout." I'm getting chills right now. And Rodney goes, "Who is this guy?" And Brady goes, "Listen to me, man. I got a lot of respect for you. Nobody on this team is going to outwork me. Nobody in this team is going to outwork me. You're talking about somebody who is, in my opinion, I'm biased. Our lockers are right by each other at our club. Not only the greatest quarterback of all time, not only the greatest football player of all time, arguably the greatest athlete of all time, who has almost no athletic ability. In fact, his sister was a better athlete. 8 AFC championship games in a row. Every other year he's played football, he's been in the damn Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? Really? Really, dude? Really? Unbelievable. That's because he's outworked everybody. Because he's in a crisis to get better every day. It's not like he'd like to. You think Brady might run the mini days I talked about earlier? You think he does? Yes or no? He does. We talk about it all the time. So, here's what happened to me. Last thing I'm going to tell you. I have this hallucination. It's sort of my overall philosophy about my life, and I want to have it for you. I want to say something to you. Tonight, I promise you something. I'll pray for you. I just pray that you're happier. I pray that you win. I pray that the right deals come your way. I'm prayerful for you. I'm telling you, if you have the right business partner in your life, the greatest architect in the world, great things can happen for you. You deserve to win. You deserve to have great things happen in your life. There was a point in time in your life when you were little where you knew you were going to be somebody.
He's just going around getting lined up to be something, and in the back of his mind, he's thinking, there's something else I'm supposed to be doing. There's something else I'm supposed to be doing. There's something else I'm supposed to be doing. Discontentment leads to direction. And out of his discontentment, here comes direction down the road. And Elijah, who just got out the cave, and he's looking for Elisha, and he comes up to him, and he exposes him to something. He comes in there with his old restaurant stuff, and he exposes him to something, and his mantle passes over him, and all of a sudden, Elijah cannot work in the secular arena anymore. Even if it means he has to take a cut in pay. Even if it means he has to burn the ox, he has to boil the ox and burn the plow, he has got to go with the man of God. Even if he doesn't become the heir apparent to what his parents wanted him to be, he is called to the man of God. Even if he doesn't have the prestige of controlling 12 yoke of oxen, he gives up all of that because he is exposed to destiny. That's what support ministry is made out of. People who are exposed to destiny. They're not people who working in the church because they couldn't work anywhere else. They should be people who could have been working in the secular, making even more money, doing something even more influential and more important. But as their love for Christ grows, they give their life to ministry. Even when the check isn't as big and the notoriety is not as much, they recognize that it was God that blessed them to go to school, to learn what they learn, or do what they do, or know what they know, that they are technically endowed because God wanted to use them in the kingdom. And they are not following the zeros, they are following the purpose and the call of God. And they're willing to boil their ox and burn their plow to be in the center of their destiny. They are called to walk with God.
I'll tell you what triggered me on this is thinking about how can I add the most value here. And engagement is one of those, new flash words in the corporate culture we all hear about. Oh, full engagement, partial engagement. But it's really true. Engagement plays such a huge role. And some of the studies that are out right now are mind-boggling. Have you seen the recent studies that they've done? 142 countries asking workers around the world, how would you describe yourself? Fully engaged, partially engaged, disengaged, aggressively disengaged. And guess what they found out? Throw it up there. Around the world, in 142 countries, they found out that 13% of employees worldwide said they were actually engaged in their work. Now, for us in this room, you'd say that's absurd. There's something wrong with the survey. Well, you'd be right. In a room like this, it's full engagement, or at least a lot fuller engagement. engaged. America has the highest engagement of any country in the world, is 29%, which sounds so much better when you're 13. Like, so which would you rather have, a punch in the face or a kick in the stomach? But let's flip that around and say, what does that really mean? It means 71% of people are disengaged at work in the richest, most powerful, most influential country in the world. It's mind-boggling. There was only one study, you'd say, oh, it was a partial. You can see study after study coming up with similar numbers, slightly off, but pretty much the same ratio. Now, here's what's really interesting. Of those 71%, there's a group in there, about 24% of them, that are actively disengaged. You know what that means? That means they hate what they do and they hate you. Now, this is pretty important, isn't it? They hate what they do, they hate you, and they will actively work to disempower the organization. Who has ever bumped into one of these humans? Raise your hand. Say I. Okay, so when you bump into these humans, it's not usually a pleasant experience, and we all know they're out there. And by the way, how much damage can they do in a world that has, social media everywhere where good news travels fast and bad news travels faster, and people don't care what the truth is afterwards. It's a cool story. It makes it go. So this is an area that if you're going to change your business, you got to make a difference. So here's what I'm looking at. What makes the difference in people? What makes a difference in an organization? And I would submit to you that it isn't getting a head start. You can find individuals who you give everything to. You can love on them, give them a great education, they get a great economic background, and can spend the rest of their life going in and out of rehab. Who's seen this before? Knows what I'm talking about? Say I. On the other hand, you see people that life's kicked in the face. Somebody's been abused mentally, emotionally, physically, you name it, and they become the Oprahs of the world. So it's certainly not Advantage does not come because you were given something. And by the way, in business, advantage doesn't come because you have most resources. Companies with most resources don't win. The most resourceful companies win. The most resourceful companies are the ones where employees are the most engaged. And it's statistically proven. You look around and you say, who had the lead? Well, before YouTube, there was Vimeo. They had a year jump. Pretty much the same technology, just didn't engage as many people. Before Google, there was, what happened, Yahoo? If you're out there, what the hell happened to you people? Right? Before Facebook, there was, what happened to MySpace? Facebook was more engaging. Engagement is really the new fact. Being able to be fully engaged. And by the way, in your intimate relationship, how important is engagement? Some guys go, very important. I want to put it off as long as I can.